All right, so again, we're going to make the connection to our 8th grade work, which in 8th grade, you talked about systems of equations. In 9th grade, we're going to talk about systems of linear inequalities. So this is what a system of an equation looks like. So whenever you see the word equation, what do you see right there? Equal. So you should have an equal sign in your question or answer. So solving system of equations has that. So it's the same as systems of inequalities, except there's no shading and the solution's only where the two lines intersect. So I've gone ahead and put the system of equations in, and you can see there's no shading and your solution is where they intersect. Because what can you tell me about an equal sign? It's always a solid line. So where is technically the shading overlapping is where the two solid lines overlap, because there's no other shading but the solid lines. So that is your 8th grade. So just quickly sketch what that looks like here. And I know it meets at 7, -1. So I'm actually going to just go to 7, -1 real quick, put a dot. And it starts at 0 and kind of goes through that line. And this other one goes through kind-ish after 10, something like that. And again, just a sketch, so it doesn't really matter accuracy. All right, so now we're going to take a look at 9th grade and supercharge what you learned in 8th grade. The process is the same. We're going to copy and paste both inequalities into decimals on 2 separate lines and zoom in until both x and y are going up by 1. So I'm going to do this question. You go ahead and do this question. So again, just type it in. All right, so you should have typed in example 3. I've typed in example 2. Okay, then it says click on the second colored circle on the left to hide the second inequality. Boom. Okay, and copy it to your answer. So the quickest thing to do is see if it crosses the y-axis, the x and the y-axis nicely, which it does, which means I don't have to find the points. So I'm going to copy this over really quick. So it crosses at 4 and -8. So -8. And 4, and be careful to graph that it is a dotted line. So even though you're doing your question, you're also going to copy down my question, and just a rough sketch is okay. Okay, then it says click the first colored second on the left to hide the first inequality, and unclick the second one and copy that one to your answer. So again, if it goes through the x-axis perfectly, it's going to be great. It doesn't. So it doesn't go through the x-axis perfectly, so you can't estimate it, but it does go through the y-axis perfectly. So I'm going to graph that one, which is 0, 4 on the y-axis. So 0, 4 on the y-axis. And you can use a different color pencil. In this case, you can use a pen and a pencil, or you can grab a color pencil for me. All right, so I can't use 0, 8, which means I have to find my other line. There are 3 ways to find your other line. You can find this on page 31. So there are 3 ways. On decimals, start on the far left of the graph, follow it with your mouse until you get to a whole number. So that's when we do this. And you're just going to keep going until you find a whole number where it kind of clicks over. The other way is you start on the far left part of the graph and follow it until you get to a corner. So with the corner boxes, I'm just going to hide this real quick. You're going to zoom in till it goes up by 1. So this is 0, 2. Zoom in, there's 0, 1. So this is a box right here, and I can see that it goes through. So if I slowly go over it, you'll see a point. Keep passing it. There we go. So at 1, -1. So that's this part right here. Or you could use another way, which is after typing the equation into decimals, use equal instead of the inequality, only to get the coordinates. Click on the setting wheels and then the table, and you'll see the coordinates. This only works if you put y equals into the equation. So it only works if I put y equals. So I'm going to put the inequality back, but right now I'm going to put an equals. If I hit settings, then table, there I do have my points. However, yours is not in y equal. Your question is not in y equal because it doesn't have y equal. So this is just a method if it's y equal. So I'm going to ignore that I have that option on my question since your question does not have it. So putting my inequality back, basically zooming in, so it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see that this is a corner and I got my point, which is 1, -1. I'm going to find another one. This is not a corner because remember the corner is there, right there. This is not a corner. This is a corner. That's a corner. So I'm just going to keep going down. Look, here's another corner. And every time I think I got a point, I can just slowly click it so I can see what that point is. So you can use any 2 points to make a line. So I'm just going to use this one. So this is 2, -6, so 2, -6. Okay, it's kind of hidden, so I'm going to go back to this other point, which is 1, -1. So I'm going to go to 1, -1, put a dot there, and then again, be careful to copy exactly what it is. This is a dotted line. Okay, now once I've done that, it says, so I'm going to put this back, click the first where it did that one. Note, be careful to pay attention as to the line is solid or dotted. I put in dotted on mine, so hopefully you've put in yours. Unclick the first colored circle, so unclick that, and pay attention to where the colors overlap. Okay, so overlap. So where does green overlap, go over where blue is. So you can see if I unclick this, this is all blue. Where does green overlap that? Right here. Green does not overlap blue right here, because you see where it's kind of darker is where the overlap is. And I'll show you. Here is green by itself. When I put blue, it does not touch this area. So the overlap is over here. So just make sure that you are shading in the correct spot. So again, you can grab some color pencils, or you can just use your pencil to do this by just drawing some lines like this. We do recognize that that is acceptable. Now be careful. You see down here where it has this little upside down V? I'm not shading in that place, just this side without that. Okay, so this is my solution set. So write any coordinate as your solution. Stay away from any dotted lines when picking a coordinate in the overlapped shading. Okay, so this is all my solutions, and I'm going to stay away from this dotted line. So whatever solution that I'm going to pick, I'm going to put it in Desmos to ensure that it is indeed a solution, but anything inside there is fine. So I'm going to pick like -4, 5, for example. So -4, 5. It's going to have a dot that's blue. I'm going to zoom out so I can see it. There is my blue dot, and it is in my overlap. So just make sure whenever you pick your point, put it back into Desmos to look at it. Stay away from the dotted lines. Oh, and just so that I'm saying this too, if it's dotted and solid, if your dot is on a dotted line, it is not a solution. So if it's at the intersection of one line that's dotted and one that's solid, it is still not a solution because one of the lines is dotted at that spot. So just be careful of that. All right, so you should have completed your question. So this is -4, 5 is a possible combination. Let's practice.